and you can just tell me if you're ready. So I'm just going to go straight down. Mark,
Yes.
do you have something that you would like to show us today?
Yeah, I have like a rough work in progress of it. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Here's what I have so far.
Okay, looks really great. I am worried about something though. Can you go into your timeline and just touch one of the frames? There we go. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
There we go. All right. Yeah, I was worried there. I thought you might have been doing a flash thing. All right, so this looks really great. Just continue letting it loop. Your core is moving at a very variable speed, which is very nice. You've got the pixie dust falling so that each one of those little things has a component weight to it. Right about here, your pixie dust dies just a little too early.
Okay.
Right about there, like right, so let's go like frame by frame here. So go to frame like 68. Just put your cursor in the timeline for frame 68. Now keep going to frame, yeah, right around there. All right, now go to, yeah, that's fine. So hit the little flower. Yeah. All right, so that is great. You see this long tail back there? And look at this, everyone. He's got little squares and tons of little shapes in there. You know, that's just exactly what we're looking for. And so right about there, your tail on your pixie dust orb, if you will, is nice and long. So now hit the G key. It continues to be long, and again G. Right? It's floating down. It's continue. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, good. Keep going. Right about there. Stop right there. Right about there. The tail end of your pixie dust dies a little bit too soon. And then from this point all the way to the end, the tail's not long enough. So you just need to keep going in there and fleshing it out. But you've got the main idea is that that cloud is falling. It's not holding in the middle of space. It's falling. Okay, then I think you could go back and make another pass on shapes that are red or blue or yellow or green, just to add some variety in there. And then the other thing that you can do is behind this is use that little brush technique we were looking at last week. Yeah, you know, because right about now that'll really take what you've got and make it super nice. And then the last thing, if you're taking notes, is have those little stars exploding. Okay. 5 or 6 of them in the whole timeline. You know, you can't do a lot of them, or it'll just look like just explosion. But you want 4 or 5 of them in your whole setup. Okay. Okay, looks good, Mark. Thanks. Jesse B.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
We just share this.
Please.
Do you see the Harmony screen?
I do.
Okay, great.
All right, so you've got an error. You want?
Oh.
You see your error? It's like water. So.
Oh, that's what you mean.
So touch frame 20. Yeah, touch the frame, the drawing. Okay, now hit the G key, and the G key again, and the G key again. Those are starting to look okay. Stop right there. That is starting to look okay. Mm-hmm. Right? That is all the way up to frame 28 is okay. Now hit G. This is where you start to go wrong. Right there. Go to F, and then G. F and G. So those little pixie dust pieces are now moving to the right. And they should not be moving to the right. They should be falling. Remember, they're little magical pixie dusts that are in the air, and once they get in the air, they twinkle and fall. Now hit the G key a bunch of times. Everything is just moving to the right.
Mhm.
You see that? Sorry.
Think of it more like the flakes are being left behind rather than them trailing the
Well, go back to
star.
frame 28 and then hit the play button. And you'll see, and get ready to stop. You'll see what it looks like is there's a cloth being dragged, like someone has a bandana.
Yeah, I see
Or
what you mean.
scarf.
It almost looks like a starlight cloth being kind of waved around.
Yeah.
It's pretty, but
Also, I think stop right there.
Mhm.
I think you need a more random quality to the distribution of your pixie dusts themselves. And hopefully, I'm just taking a quick look at this. You've got some of them that are actually really interesting little shapes in there. Like there's a little 5-point, 6-point snowflake star kind of deal.
Mhm.
But they're not moving correctly. They've got to like swoop and fall.
So they should follow this path a bit more tightly as opposed to falling.
Well, actually, let me do this for just a second. Go back to the beginning of your shot, and then it looks like you have double click actually in your color palette.
Mhm.
Right click in there, and then change to swatch mode. And now click on the very edge of the dust, the pink. Go ahead, double click. All right, now go to multi-color wheel mode. And now take your alpha to about half. And then just put that color wheel away. Now play it. So you can see that it's not dragging behind it.
Yeah.
The pixie dust has to drag behind, and then it also has to fall. So yours is just acting like a piece of fabric that's being dragged behind it. I'm not sure you can save much of it after frame 28.
Mhm.
So what you would just do is
kill your baby.
on each one of those frames that you have your pixie dust is just use your main select tool, which is your black arrow.
Yeah.
And pick it. And it looks like your core is on a different layer. So that, yeah, exactly. So, and just delete.
Okay.
Just delete them. Because one of the things that if they were close, I'm going to turn my head like a dog.
Mhm.
If they were close, then you could have just killed the intensity of the color and left it as a background thing. But as it is right now, they just need so many adjustments that it's best to just redo it.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jack?
Like I said, I don't really
you're-
have anything really presentable.
you're
I
ready.
have like some
That's okay.
planning stuff when the thing came
That's
out.
okay. That's okay. Paul? Paul? Paul!
I don't have, I was having issues with my tablet, so I had to order a new one. So I just got it in yesterday. So
Okay, gotcha. Very good. Lindsay?
Yeah, I'm here.
No, you're not.
Oh.
That's just your avatar. I know.
She's in the grass.
Mhm. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
I'm not really done, but I try to do something.
All right, let me take one more look at it. Hit the play again. Okay, so I think you're on the right path here. What I'd like you to do is put your cursor on frame 32.
32.
Yeah, in the time, there you go,
Like
right
this?
there. Right, perfect. Okay, so now hit the G key.
G key.
No, on your keyboard.
Oh,
And again. Hit G, 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 G. Okay, good, stop right there. Now hit F to go backwards. You don't have to do that in a timeline, just use your keyboard.
Okay.
Just use the F key on your keyboard.
Like this?
Yeah. Keep going. Stop right there. It's right there. All right. So what you've got is a really good start. Congratulations. But, and I'm going to annotate this. And I can't annotate this very long. I'm just going to annotate one drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my thing, man? I'm not seeing my annotation. Let's try that. Well, I clicked it, but it didn't do anything. Oh, here we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw for you, and it's going to be a little clunky, but you need pixie dusts all the way back here.
Oh, okay.
It's just the way pixie dust works. So, and then these right here, as your orb goes around over here, these guys are going to need to fall downwards. These guys, when you're over here, they're going to need to fall downwards.
Okay.
All of this, they're going to, so by the time you get to this one, this shape, these guys should be like way down here. So now hit the G key. Keep going, keep going. Yeah, so stop right there. Go backwards 2 frames. Right, good, right there. So this piece of pixie dust, that needs to be like all the way back here. Now, I don't think I can pick, yeah, I can pick a different color. So like for this guy, the dispersion pattern should be like that. And then all of these on the frame before it should be falling downwards. All right, now hit the G key again a couple of times. One more, right about there. Stop right there. So this is good. This is great. I think that you just need to go and this cluster needs to be about back here. Needs to be about back there. All right, go forwards in time. A G. Stop right about there. Right about there. Stop. So all of this, like this frame right here, that needs to have pixie dust from all of these guys that are still falling.
Okay.
Like that. And try different little shapes in there. And then this is right about where you stopped. So again, you're on a great trajectory. There's a great path right there. So just keep going. By the time you get over to here, come on. By the time you get to here, on this one, all of this pixie dust is brand new, but all of this stuff is falling behind it. And that frame should look something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. And then remember, everyone, that she is at frame 99, frame 80. And by the time she gets to frame 90, the little core is going to be over here. Yes? Jack, are you watching? Yes? So that means the new pixie dust is going to be here, and that everything else is going to be continued falling. Holy mackerel. It'll be about that long. And then you're going to need another one. All right?
Okay.
Look at that drawing I did for you. All right, now I have to figure out how to get rid of it. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. Easy enough. All right, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
Tom? Oh, yeah, you can stop sharing your screen. Tom? Hey, Billy. Yes. Yes, of course. Thank you, Tom. All right, do you have any questions though, Tom? I mean, and I am recording this, so as we go through this session, in a couple hours, I'll put this up on YouTube and put the link in the classroom. So, and hopefully that this little session of me drawing over yours helps everybody, right? Millie?
Hi, it's my first time to use the share screen. I'm gonna try if it works.
Okay. The big green button on the bottom. I'm sorry, Tom, you said no, but I don't remember what I asked you. Millie.
Yes, sorry, I'm still working. on it.
Millie.
Um,
Millie! Sit up straight. What do you think this is, third grade or something? Are you trying to find the share screen button?
Oh,
You got it. There you
yeah.
go.
is it sharing now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry.
Okay, that looks pretty good. Stop.
Um,
Yeah, the space bar is not stop. You have to hit the play button. Okay, I would like you to turn on your guides. Yep, I'd like to see that. All right, go back to the beginning. All the way to the beginning. Nope, all the way to the beginning. Yep. Play. Okay, I see an error. Go to frame 24 and stop. And click on the sprinkle, okay. Turn off your onion skin. Turn off your onion skin. Yep, okay, good. All right, now let's see if this works, but I want you to hit the little blue flower. Okay, good. So now I want you to hit the, yes, touch right there. Now hit the F key. Good, okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna do a little sketch for you, and I'm gonna do it just like I did a minute ago. All right, so we're gonna start with white. And the thing I'm gonna do here is that this core is, it's just come in. You know, you're on your fourth drawing here. This needs to hug the line just a little more. So it's falling just a little too fast. It can even be above the line a little bit. Remember that it's got a dispersion to it. Also try to vary the thickness of your pixie dust itself. So this part right here is a little skeptical that, and now go hit the G key again. All right, so now this one, we'll do this in yellow. This one is wrong because if this stuff is okay, but then it needs, this is falling too fast. So this stuff needs to it just needs to linger a little bit. So this whole little core bit right here, this is moving too fast. Now go to G. So then this is moving incorrectly. So I'm gonna use this green. So this one should be hugging the line, and then all the other stuff should be falling like that. So this is suspect right here. And you can just fix this easily by using your erasing tool and just kind of erasing a little bit. Just, you know, go in there, erase a little bit. Okay, hit the G key. And now this is inconceivable. You see where we just were? Go hit the F key. And then now the G key. So this means that it's like dispersing really wide out there. This particular frame should be leaving the pixie dust and then falling. And I know you're all sick of me saying the word falling. So that means this whole thing is suspect. This whole little clump is suspect. And you can use lots of different shapes in there. But I don't think that it should swing out so much. Now keep going, G key. So this one's the same kind of error. All right, continue, G key, G key. So and it kind of catches up. So about right here, this is okay. So for this one on frame 36, I think you're okay. This is looking right. So make a note for yourself that frame 36 was looking okay. And then continue, G. Okay, stop about, okay, stop, go backwards, F. So on F, now I'm gonna pick a brown color. On this one, you would literally have this stuff being left behind, and then what was ever up here would be falling, and it should be about down here by now. And then maybe even a little bit, so you'd have your little curl over right there. All right, go ahead in time, G key. So this is looking okay. So right now go backwards, stop, frame 44. So frame 44 is okay. You just need more of it back in here. And now go ahead, go to the next one. So that one's fine too. You just need more of it. Frame 40, so this stuff between frame 40 and 52, that's probably okay. Keep going. Keep going, keep going. Okay, now stop. Right in here, you just need more of it. In this little area right here, you just need more of it. You're getting it right. So let me see if you got this little hook over correct. Yeah, this is all okay. You just need, remember that like this little orb right here, he's gonna leave a trail about like that. I should have picked a different color. So for this guy right here, he's gonna be leaving a trail about like that. And you can kind of see where the arc came from. It's just gonna fall. So yeah, this stuff right in here is good. You just need more of it. It's these frames in here that need to be fixed. All right, so go back to the beginning and see what happens when you play it with my little annotation lines in there. Play it. Oh, stop. You have to hit you have to go back to OpenGL. Hit the white flower. Yeah, now play it. Okay, so did you see that little swing out right here? See how it swings too much?
Yes.
That's the only part that really truly needs to be fixed. All the other parts just need more pixie dust. You're in a good path. You're in a good place.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Christy Lou?
Yes. I'm gonna share my screen right now.
Okay. The sun just came out, everybody. I think I'm gonna end up burning to a crisp.
I feel that my window's always open.
Hit Shift M on your keyboard.
Okay.
Yeah, what else have you got going there?
How do you, okay.
Oh, you just gave yourself a black background. That's
Because
fine.
I wanted to see it's light my pixie dust, and I'm in my 5th pass. I want to add more passes, so it's not complete yet.
Go ahead and hit, yeah, nope, right there. Hit the render frame, this one right here. Hit this. Can you see my mouse?
No,
Can you see it now?
no.
Hold on.
They added distorted border to the still Discord. Yeah, Kara's in the background.
Yeah.
See it now? This little mouse, hold on a second.
I see a line.
Here we go.
I think that was you.
This one.
Um,
See that?
I see it. You just drew an arrow, but I don't see your mouse.
That's okay. That little button right there, hit that button.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay, now play.
Okay. Oh, let me turn off this. So you
Okay,
can see it.
so one more time. Okay, yeah, that's a better look at it. All right, so go to frame 18. Perfect. Okay, so what you've got there is looking very nice. What I want to do is talk to you about, so hit G on the keyboard again. Nope, wait, stop. No. Put your cursor right there, right there. Yep. Now hit G. G, G. Okay, you need more of it. You need
yeah.
all this stuff trailing behind. You're only 3 frames into this. So
Yeah.
this needs to trail behind it. So hit G again.
I'm planning to do more passes.
So yeah, so by the time that this little devil is right here, that there would be pixie dust all the way back here. And then remember that's got to fall too. So go ahead.
Mhm.
Now, at one point, does this go behind her? Oh,
Yeah.
Stop. Hit the F key a bunch of times. Stop right there, stop. Okay, now hit G once, G again, G again. You know, I think it's nice, but just in terms of traditional pixie dust, this should be leaving a path, really long path like that.
Yeah, I'm not done with my passes yet, so that's why
Right.
the line is still short.
So the other thing that I'm worried about is that you've got pixie dust that are very small. So on maybe one of your passes, go back in there and turn your pencil setting up or really push harder on your pencil so you can get a bit more meat, if you will. Okay, hit G again. And G. Okay, so this is more like a comet. It's behaving more like a comet because you don't have any of the pixie dust that's falling downwards. So continue, hit the G key. Right, so this needs to be longer. This particular instance of the orb needs to have a trail of about like this. And then that stuff is all falling. So I think you've got the core stuff is okay. You hit the G key. Yeah, I think that what you've got is okay. You just need more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And hit the next one. All right, so be careful. So go backwards three drawings. One more. One more. All right, so this one, I think, and this one's going to be in the front. This is what's coming in front of her. So all this is okay. But the very next one, go ahead. So that means that all of these need to be falling. So just make sure that you've got like pixie dust that's all the way back into here on frame 56. And continue. Yeah, it just needs to be longer.
Okay.
And I like this. I like how you're doing a little spiral thing. And so what you go to like frame 70, just hit frame 70. So what you might want to try is like, and then like try something like that, like little explosions, and then go to the next frame. So on this one would continue out, you know, it get a little smaller. Maybe there's a new one that starts here, and then go to the next frame, and then it goes out, and then like this one, there's a new one. So they're just kind of like little radiant plasma bursts, if you will.
Yeah,
And you can see what I'm doing here is creating like either a 5 or a 6-point star, and just stay with that. And so you've got 5, and then maybe as it continues to go around, because you've still got a good 10 more drawings there, then on your map, just plan a new one and make sure that they're in a different place. And these can actually be 1 frame, 2 frames, 3 frames. They can last for 4 or 5 frames, right? Do you understand this?
Yes.
So they're exploding. This is frame 20. This is frame 70, 72, 74, 76. By the way, if I was doing this, they would be odd numbers because that's traditional animation. By the time it got out to here, I might do one that explodes. Like a little 5-point star on frame 76 that explodes. And then in the next frame, this continues to explode. And I wouldn't do a whole bunch of these. I might only do 2 or 3. But 5 or 6-point stars for this coming off. And then what you could do is you could actually go and use your little brush tool. And then don't just have this line, have like a bunch of random dust be behind that as well. It might look kind of cool. But for this, when your stars are exploding, you can use 2, 3 frames on 2s. You saw me do this.
Yeah.
So go out there and then I think that it might be a little crazy to have the particle emanating from right here, because that's where it's swirling around. It goes out to here, explodes, and then it would be weird. I'll put a W for weird. It would be weird to have any of these guys exploding. Just let it dissipate.
Okay.
All right, hopefully that makes sense, right?
Yeah. Oh, and then I had a concern. When I first started it, I started off small, so I resized it using
Resize what? Your character?
the character,
Or the
and
whole
because
thing?
I already did 3 passes, I resized the character and the passes with I think it was this tool, transform,
Sure.
and then now it has these dots. I don't know if they're significant.
They're just keyframes?
I think what happened is that because you had the animate sitting on, the camera is interpreting this as a movement.
Yeah.
If you play through it, I didn't see a movement.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's inconsequential, but you can delete those little pegs.
Yeah, just right click.
Oh, but if I delete them, it makes it
No, you don't want to delete them. Just right click and say
Uh-huh.
clear. Let me, wait, I haven't done this in a while. Hold on. No.
What do you mean?
Delete keyframe. F7, see at the top?
Oh.
So that you can leave it there too. That little dot.
oh, but
just-
it resized it back to small. It's right here.
First, turn off the animate mode. See the yeah right there, and then turn it to you turn it to like a little red still person. Yeah, and see if that helps.
No, it's still small. It's still
Ah, shoot.
reshrunk. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I know what happened. I wish I knew how to get out of it. Because I had a similar thing, but I think I eventually just kind of like reinserted the character.
Actually, open up your little plus sign that's right next to pass 1.
Uh-huh.
Open that up. All right, let me take a look. Hold on. Scale. See, that's what you did. You scaled this in X and Y coordinates.
Hmm.
So you just leave that keyframe there.
Okay.
Just leave that keyframe there, because what you ended up doing was scaling everything.
Mm.
And so that's the way like Flash and After Effects works, is that that's what you did. You created a little
Make flash me.
scaling in there, and now you have to live with it.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
now what I would do if I were you, and I'm not, because that would be painful,
Jesus.
Just redraw it.
is I would do all your other work on pass 2, pass 3, pass 4, so you don't get into trouble. And remember, you've got a very bright white character against a very dark background, so there's maximum amount of contrast there.
Mm.
And I would highly recommend you using a lot more vibrant colors in your pixie dust.
Okay.
And then
No.
and then make sure that the pixie dust is registered when it goes behind her.
Okay.
You know what I mean by that? I
Is
mean,
there a way to make a clipping mask after I finish my animation so I don't have to go back and delete it?
yeah, you can probably just copy and paste your character on another level, but you know, the easiest thing that you could do would be is to just go into a layer and just do a really quick outline of your character in a terrible, awful, horrible color like this green you've got picked out here, so that you know that's where your character is. And then just don't draw any pixie dust that's supposed to be behind her. Because one of the first rules of animation, and it doesn't matter whether it's 2D or 3D or stop motion, but the first rule is that one thing cannot be in front of and behind something else at the same time. Like an arm. If you got pixie dust going around the arm, the pixie dust on that layer cannot be in front of and behind the arm at the same time.
I know what you mean.
You'd have to use a garbage mat, or you just have to erase it. And for whatever the production value for us is, don't draw all that stuff that's behind her. You're still going to have to track the pixie dust that's falling that was in front of her, but now the orb is behind her, but you're still going to have to draw that stuff falling. But the best advice I could give you is instead of working with mats, articulated mats or garbage mats, just give yourself a really clean outline and don't draw any pixie dust that's supposed to be behind her. Okay, you got it?
Yes.
Okay,
Wait, thank you.
you're welcome. All right, where are we here? That was Christy, right?
Yes.
That was Christine. Okay. Key?
Yes. You guys see it okay?
Oh, wait, before you play, stop. I can tell you're going to get in trouble just by looking at your timeline. You've got things planned out on 6s and 8s.
Yeah,
So,
on purpose. I was
okay,
just
so
blocking in for now.
you're just blocking in.
Mhm.
All right, let me see what it looks like.
Yeah, I haven't finished yet.
All right, I think you're going to be okay. There's a couple of things I'd like to comment on, and that is that go to frame 55. I'm sorry, 55. Okay, so what I'm seeing here
Mhm.
isn't technically an error, but there's some problems with the aesthetics. So, and the problem I see is that you've got your orb, which is cool. There's a hot white center and this cool blue glow. Good one.
Let's see.
And
Sorry about that.
it doesn't look like you're using nodes. You might have just used it. No, I don't know how you're getting this glow. I think it's okay. But the issue is that whenever, like just on this particular frame, you would have pixie dust coming off here, and you would have a dispersion
Mhm.
that gets a little bit wider. So just from like this trajectory along the center line of the path, your pixie dust would be something like this. You have big ones and little ones. And if you notice kind of what your classmates have been doing, someplace around out here, the pixie dust would actually be dying. I wonder if there's a way to turn off that little thing.
A little flag. that you have.
Yeah, that's weird. There, oh, yep. Well, let me keep going. So I think this stuff right here is too much.
Okay.
Now use the G key to go forwards in time. All right, so now you're on the next one, and you can then go backwards, F and G. So not only is that place too much, but now it's too much here as well. So I think that you would be best to maybe go into the node, right, that you're using for your pixie dust.
Mhm.
And you kind of have to be careful because my intuition is saying that you've got a fairy dust, and then fairy 2, and then fairy inner.
Yeah.
But with this, and that's like your glow. But with the fairy inner, it looks to me like you've used the fairy inner for this stuff out here.
That's correct.
Am I wrong?
No, that's correct.
So what that means is that you can't affect the color of these guys here just
Okay.
by affecting the color. So you've got like you got fairy and then pixie dust. So what you could do is you could just put a node on the pixie dust layer,
Mhm.
like I showed, and I'll do that again when I do my little demo. I'll show you, because then that way you can just kill the opacity on this stuff, maybe erase it a little bit, and then continue out in time. Hit the G key like 4 times. Yeah, I think this stuff is all okay. You just might have a little bit too much in here.
Okay.
And then what are you on? 8s? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. You can put it on 3s. Just do it in between for each one of these. You don't have to be on 2s. You can be on 3s. That's fine.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it.
Got it? Okay.
Thank you.
So before you do anything, wait. Oh, okay.
Oh.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to check something with the annotation tool.
Sorry.
All right. No, that was my fault. Farah?
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, okay, can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, so I tried to do this twice just to get the timing right. Should I show you both or just the one I'm working on right
Just
now?
the one you're working on now. But you know,
Sure.
I'm kind of worried here because in your timeline, you have a line, which is probably your arc.
Mm-hmm.
So go touch your line. Just touch a keyframe in your line. No, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to turn off that layer just for a moment. Yeah, that's weird. Why do you have all these keyframes in here?
I wasn't sure how else to replicate them, so I
Wait,
just
what did you do?
I just copy and paste it over and over again.
Uh,
I wasn't sure how else to get all those frames, so
well, that's just your line. That's just your arc, right?
yeah.
So you just do it in a flash. You just turn your line back on. Hopefully you didn't spend a lot of time doing this.
It just took like a minute or so.
Because you just draw it. You just use your pencil tool or the brush tool. It doesn't matter. And you just go up and down and you're done. So as long as you didn't spend a lot of time in there. What is this reference thing? Turn the reference on.
Reference, that is, hello? Oh, there we go.
Oh, that's just your key?
Yeah.
Okay. And you copy and pasted those in the same place too?
Yeah.
All right, so let me just understand.
I wasn't, because what I tried to do is, I originally tried drawing the arc, but that was only on one frame, and then when I tried to go on to later frames, it didn't show up.
All right, so
And I wasn't sure how else
I
to
think
fix that.
I can help you very quickly here.
Okay.
What I'd like you to do is go out to the left of the reference area and click on the eyeball. Okay, now turn it back on again. So my intuition says that the only thing on your reference layer is this key of these little shapes. All right, so what I want you to do is touch frame 17 right there and go all the way out to the end and shift select all the way to the very end, the last keyframe. Touch it and then go out and shift select. You can do that too. You can drag select. Now right click and then just hit delete. It's right there, delete. All right, now go back and put your mouse on frame 130. Now pay attention, everybody. This is how you do this quickly. So she's touching frame 30. Hit F5 on your keyboard.
F5.
There you go. Now do it again.
That's how you do it.
Now do it again. Now go back to frame 2 in your line layer. Frame 2 in your line layer, and either drag select or shift select all of the other frames and delete them. Oh, you deselected them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and there's no other way to do this. You just have to hit delete like that. Now go to the very last frame and then hit F5. There you go.
All right,
Cleaned it
thank
up.
you.
Now, you know, technically, literally, it's the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what it did is it saved you a bunch of data in that original Toon Boom folder. Now, instead of all those particular frames, now there's just one for each layer. And it's a much cleaner way of working. All right, so
Thank you.
let me see what your animation looks like again.
Sure. Okay.
So wait, stop. So wait, So right here, an easy way to see your whole timeline is hit F1 on the, I'm sorry, 1 on the keyboard. Again, there, see what happened? Now hit 2. See what's happening?
Yeah.
It zooms your timeline. That's always, it's a really great thing. All right, so go to frame 1 and play. Are you
I'm
just,
still trying to figure out the timing right now.
well, that looks okay. Yeah, that looks okay. So now just go do your pixie dust.
Okay.
Yep.
I was trying to get it up to 135 frames. Right now it's on frame.
Well, you're gonna need
116.
a few extra frames as this orb goes off the screen. So you're gonna need probably about 10 or 12, 14 drawings out here. And so just take this red, just take the red ending point. No, in your timeline. In your timeline, take this red, no, not that one, this one.
This.
Yep, drag that out. Yeah, drag it out. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't let you. There we go. Keep going, 150. I think you grabbed the wrong, oh no, you did. So, and then if you needed to add extra frames, so here's a good thing for everybody. Hit 2 on the keyboard, hit the number 2. Okay, good. So now put your cursor in 150 in your line layer. Right there. Hit 1, right there. Now hit F5.
F5.
F5. Now what I want you to do is, depends on what keyboard you have. But I have an extended keyboard and I have a plus and minus sign all the way out to the right.
Yes.
So hit the plus sign once.
Oh wait.
There, now hit it again. So see what's happening? It's not letting you go past that point, but it did. So if you drag that open a little bit, you see it went all the way to 151. No, 1, hit 1 on the keyboard. There
I'm
you
so
go.
sorry.
Now drag your ending. Or you could do it this way too. I think you could put your stop frame at frame. You just increase the duration of your shot by just hitting those little up arrows. I know you can't see me. Right there. Yeah, right there. Yeah, right there. Just hit it a bunch of times. It's not letting you hit it. So just change the number to 155 and then hit enter. It's not letting you do it.
It's not.
All right, hit Command Z. Again, one more time. Okay, yeah. Well, anyway, that's 2 different ways. Just go in and do your pixie dust.
Okay.
Right? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh. Chrissy? Chrissy Moran, you were here. Chrissy Moran disappeared. She couldn't take it. All this critique, Mark, she couldn't take it. She probably got dropped. Okay.
Maybe she did, yeah.
I don't know what she did. All right, Christian Rivera Alicia. Is that how you say that?
There you go. So I'm trying to even figure the program out. It's
Right.
been like a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, it's not the easiest application. All right, go ahead and hit your G key. Well, it looks like it looks like it's correct. So now just open up a new layer. So right there, that plus sign, say drawing. Nope. You have to do it. Nope. Drawing. Nope. You didn't do it yet. Do it again. There you go. No. Now you have to do it again. Go ahead, drawing. And now give it a name. Pixie dust. Don't close it. Don't. Christian?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, so now double click on the word drawing. Oh, you don't have to do that. You're driving yourself crazy. No, stop. Yes. Just now say pixie dust. Just start typing. Pixie dust. All right, that's fine. Perfect. Now hit add and close. No, add and close. There you go. Add and close. Hit it. All right, so now remember that with this pixie dust layer, you can drag this layer underneath the core if you want. Just go ahead and touch the word pixie dust in your timeline. In your timeline. In your timeline. And you can drag it. See how you did that? So you can drag layers that way. Does everyone pick up on that? And that's true of many applications that you can do that. All right, so it looks like your core is working. It looks like you just need to go at it and do it, right? And I would give yourself as many of those layers as you would need. And it looks like you also need to finish it by just a little bit, but you're on the right path anyway. Do you have any questions?
For now, no. I'm just trying to get like really familiar with the program.
You know how people say sometimes that Photoshop is really intuitive? Well, I think that Photoshop is not really all that intuitive. I think you just get used to where things are and you just know what to do after using Photoshop for many years. But this application, it takes a good long while. I'm not going to even go in to all the other stuff this application can do. It's crazy. It's really thick and juicy, and it's a really, really great program. This program's won awards, technical awards. The rigging alone is just amazing, but we're just going to use it to draw. So don't worry, what you're learning right now we'll use all semester. And we're not going to learn too many other nifty little tricks, just a few here and there. The idea is basically drawing. All right, thank you, Kristen. Daniel?
Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Nice.
Here we go. You can see this?
Yes.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna play it. There we go. Yeah, that's my progress so far.
Okay,
First half.
this is pretty good. So I can see where you left off.
Yeah.
So go to frame, go to frame like 25. Oh, that's good. Yeah, go to like 25 and just stop right there.
Okay.
All right, so you're calling this dots and core. Okay, let me hit the G key. So I like this. There's a nice hot core, and you got pixie dust. Oh, you can't see this, can you?
No, I
See
can't.
my mouse.
I do not.
I'm gonna animate. I'm gonna annotate it.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So I think that what you've got is working pretty well. You know, I like this whole area right here. You know, this is all working pretty well. I'm worried that this stuff back in here is a little longish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now you're into saying, oh, look everyone, I'm on drawing number 10. And God damn it, I'm going to draw that pixie dust if it's the last thing that kills me. So go to hit the G key.
Yep. And
then again, and again, and again. So right about now, this stuff here should be really dissipating. So I think, so
yeah,
this
my approach was just making it leave the screen and not dissipate. So yeah, you're right.
I think that, and what you can do here is instead of trying to do anything else, use this tool. Just use your eraser tool and just kind of and go in there and try to erase a little bit. Hit the G key again.
Yep.
All right, so right about here, there's some little places where the core is too much,
Hmm.
right? I think that this should be the hot stuff. And the further away from the pixie dust origination of the pixie dust, this stuff down here should not be so hot. You know,
Right.
and that's kind of why I like to try to, in this particular frame, would be to put bigger shapes and stars in there. And then this should be really dissipating. So once again, you've got this going on here, where all this is just a little hot.
Hmm.
Go to hit the G key again.
Oh, whoops. Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, so by the time you get up here, this is a little funky. You've got a straight edge, and I would highly recommend using the erasing tool and going in and just obliterating a bunch of the little pixie dusts in here, because you don't want a straight edge.
Right.
The idea of drawing random is just to kind of always go back and forth, and then add a little bit of contrast in there. You know, that to me, I think that's the best way to generate any kind of random quality. But it looks like you might have went and you were kind of drawing it from one direction to another.
Mhm.
If am I right?
Yeah, yeah. I was planning like the ones like where it would start dropping and it end like that sort of like planning. I think that make it look a little more.
But I think
linear.
the idea is random.
Yeah.
And just to be able to get stuff random, it just you have to go back and forth, left and
Yep.
right, up and down. I think that if you try to go like this, you're going to end up, see what I'm doing? Even just with this
Yeah.
little mistake, all of a sudden I've got like a pattern happening.
Mhm.
I've got like a character that has some teeth. You see it?
Yeah.
Like I've got some like underwater monster. It's like an underwater catfish monster because I was trying to do random, but my hand was like, it's got the upper and lower limit.
Mhm.
So I think the best way to do random is to do back and forth. Just go back and just vary your touch and your sensitivity a little bit. Just trying to draw myself with just 10 lines, right?
Yeah, it's hard not to doodle when you see an empty-ish canvas.
There you go.
I love it.
11 lines. All right, so that one, and then hit G key a bunch of times.
Okay.
Yeah, stop. So go backwards, F. So this is funky. I don't know if you like this or not, but I don't like this little shape right here. It's not random. And then there's like all these other weird inner shapes right here. Try to keep it as random as possible here. And then this stuff, once again, it's like, it's too much at the end.
Mhm.
I think you'll be a lot happier if you just get a more random dispersion and don't try to kill yourself with the stuff that's at the end. Hit the G key a couple times. And then you run out of steam. So, and I don't know about this little blank right here. I think that the idea is that the pixie dust core is like, if it's going this way, then it's like exploding a whole bunch of pixie dusts right from it. And the further you get away from the core, the more spread out and random that they are. But I think that it's constant. It's like a sparkler.
Yeah.
So, and then hit the G key a couple of times. Yeah, and then you that's where you're at right now.
Yeah, just the trail.
All right, so that, I think that the trail itself is working, but for this little guy right here that's just right about to impale me, right?
Okay.
Just right there. So I think yeah, exactly. Go backwards a frame or two. Okay. And then forwards. So one more. So for this guy right here, his dispersion pattern should be like this.
I see.
And then go and put a big one. And remember, when you do that, for the next bunch of frames, that little big one is going to have to fall, right?
Right.
And then this little cloud is also going to have to fall. So I think you're on a good path. You just have to clean it up a little bit.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think we have one more person and then we'll take a break. Uma?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I think your stuff is falling just a little too fast. So go to frame 20. And yeah, I think that it's inconceivable, Uma, that your orb is right there. Let me draw. That the orb is right there. Your orb is right there, but it's inconceivable that this stuff would be falling that far down. Really, that stuff should be hugging the line a little bit more and then dropping downwards from the position that it just came from a few frames ago, right? So I think that all of this is wrong. And I think the only thing you can do is just erase it. Just go in there and erase that part. You can keep some of this stuff and then go to the G key and the G again and the G again. So, right, so this is your core. And I think that what you have is that this stuff, it's falling too fast. The dispersion should be, for this particular frame, should just be coming behind it and then falling, going back and forth, you know, something like that. So all this stuff is just a little much. I think that all you have to do is erase it a little bit. Just use your erasing tool. Hit the G key a couple of times and stop right about, go one more, right there. So this, remember that the pixie dust core is going along this arc. It's just like, it's going this way. So it should be leaving pixie dust behind it. And then the stuff that it already left behind it back here should be falling. So this particular frame on frame 33 should have a dispersion pattern like that. And you have it like this. You see the difference? I don't see you in my preview monitor. So yours needs to go up. Yours is falling too fast. Hit G key a couple of times. And so, yeah, continue. G key, G key. Okay, right about here, this stuff could work because now it's behaving correctly. But just remember that the mechanism is that for wherever your core is along the arc, somewhere around 6 inches behind it is your dispersion pattern. So here the pixie dust is coming off the core, and by the time it gets back here, it's falling downwards already. So this one should work. And then your second pass is to put in bigger shapes, little circles, stuff like that. All right, continue, hit the G key. All right, stop right there and turn your onion skin off. Right, so I think that this one's close. I think this one's close, but I think that you also want to maybe generate just a touch more random quality. So I'm going to just make my annotations yellow. Remember that he's going that way. So the main influx of the pixie dust is just right in here. And this stuff should all have been played out already, and it should be falling. So this little arc right here is now going to present itself, and it's going to be moving down. So I think this one's close, but I think that you've just got a couple of blue dots that aren't quite so random. You know, you could almost draw like little geometric shapes in there. Practice the idea about going back and forth and up and down just in order to generate a better random quality. And that includes tapering off. That includes like, well, these wouldn't be out here. These would be gone. But just practice the idea of drawing, learning, just getting that random quality. Okay, thank you, Uma. Okay, I'm going to pause my recording. All right, I believe I am now recording. Yes, I'm recording. Okay. Okay, so remember that Toon Boom is quite the beast of an application. There's just so many things that it can do. And we're just going to scratch the surface of that stuff. And there's a couple of things that I just wanted to remind you about just before we go into the next little production mode. And that is that I deliberately picked a circle where I knew that the action was going to be counterclockwise. I kept it in the same arc and then a clockwise motion. So, and I just wanted to do this again. So I'm going to create a new layer, a new drawing layer, and I'm just going to call this arc 2. And the reason why I wanted to do this just was because it'll give you an idea that there are other ways to do the arc. You don't always have to do it just like me. So I'm going to give myself a new red color. And remember that I'm going to be in pencil, which is vector. The whole thing is vector. And so I don't need to be a brush. I want to just be a pencil. Again, our settings are 5, 20, 5, 5. So that is really close right now to just being a pencil. You could come in from the upper right, upper left, and then kind of go this way if you want. So that is one option for doing another different kind of arc. And again, what I'm doing is I'm trying to stay away from the edges. So there's my action safe area. There's also another area underneath there where it's title safe. Oops, hold on. So that would work too. And then remember that there's also the option where you can come in from the upper right and do a loop, and then another loop to get out of the screen. I think I suggested last week that one of the possibilities was trying to work on something that may or may not be in perspective. So you can try something where it comes in and loops and then just kind of does this thing where it goes into perspective. And so you kind of got this idea that there's a vanishing point there, and maybe going in here and bolstering this out a little bit, swinging this out. So you can work on that art just artistically. And remember that there's a couple of reasons why one or the other of these works better than the other. In this red one here, what happens is if you've got the core about right here, that means your pixie dust dispersion is going to be something like that. You know, it's going to be something like that. By the time it gets over to here, your dispersion is going to be like this. And so there's a kind of an advantage to keeping it towards the bottom, because then as this stuff goes off the screen, you're not tied into it like forever and ever and ever. If you bring the pixie dust core and you're talking about this position, your dispersion is going to be like this, something like that. But by the time you get to this little rat bag right here, your dispersion is going to be this to start with, but then you're probably going to be picking up the stuff that was falling here and this stuff. And it's going to, so this little guy right here might have all this. And by the time you get to here in some obnoxious green color here, you might have all of this. This is all going to fall. And then you're going to have to just very cleverly pick out where in the timeline you want this to dissipate and disappear. Does that make sense to everybody? So where it might be really cool to have a arc that's really high. There is an advantage to the one that I was using just for coming in, looping and going off the screen and just getting done with it. So that's just, if anybody is thinking about adjusting or doing anything different. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn this off. So there's a couple of things that I just wanted to go over once again, because I think it makes a good point that you're following your arc. At this point right here, I'm using my main effects color. So I'm just gonna zoom in on this, which is my yellow. And I've got a dispersion there. I've got a little star happening. As I go into the next one, I'm gonna turn my onion skin on. So you can see that where the frame before, now I'm using the G key to go backwards. So by the time this frame happens here on frame 21, I've got my first little star. So, and then on twos for the next one, it gets a little bigger, just the yellow one. Then the next one, it gets even a little bigger. Then on the next one, you can see the green coming up, it gets bigger. And so 5 drawings and then 6 drawings. So when you do these little stars, so let's just look at that one as it plays. So that's nice, right? And it's on twos. There's a very old quality Disney feel to it. You just saw hundreds of those, hundreds of them on screen at the same time. You know, you don't need to do more than 5 or 6, really, truly. So my next little piece of advice would be, is that remember that this part was just a first pass. I'm gonna turn my onion skin off just so that I can get a look at what I'm working on right now. And I've got yellows and whites. In here, I'm probably gonna want another blue. So I'm gonna bring up another FX blue. And remember, blue is a cold color. So if you're throwing hot sparks, I'm just gonna make this 4. Then you're going to have to, you have to know that any blue is going to show up really strongly against the other white. So I might only do that much of blue, or I might do one little circle. And remember, because you've given it a separate color all by itself, you can go back in there and tone it down a little bit. Check it on the screen. You could give it an alpha just to tone it down even more. Right, and then so that's another little advantage. So your second pass, third pass should have little, again, according to your key. So when we were looking at our key, we had small to medium to, now we have 4-point cross, we have a 6-point cross, we have squares, we have spirals, you have explosions, exclamation points, hashtags. You could put all kinds of stuff in there, all triangles, all kinds of stuff. All right, so again, back out here. This is just a really good frame to talk about. Oops, I went the wrong way. So right here on frame 33, my orb is right here. And you can see that its dispersion rate is nice and long. I've got a nice hot core right here. And then there are pieces of pixie dust that go all the way down here, which were literally coming from the 3rd or 4th drawing. So I'm looking at following through on 5, 6, 7, 8 different drawings the pixie dust has to fall for. All right, and so that's just a reminder. And once you get the first pass in place, then you can always just use your G key to go forwards in time. And then it's just much easier to add that in there. All right, so let me look at this mist. Let me just talk about the mist one more time. I think that sometimes the on-ground students watch me do this on day 1, and then they never go backwards. So I think what I was using is the mist color here, and I was using a paintbrush. Remember that the paintbrush has vectors on both the outside and the inside of the line. And here I've got the 77 stars, which probably means that if I press really hard, I'm going to get 77 pixels. Oh, no, wait, I didn't use this. This one is actual stars. now I'd be careful of that one. We talked about that one last week. The one that I like is this dusty pastel or the dappled. And just remember with my mist, I'm gonna hit really hard. You know, that's okay. And I'm gonna give, I just did the Command Z this. I've got its own particular layer here. So as I get my pixie dust, my first pass, my second pass, I'm gonna give myself a mist layer, and I'm just gonna tuck it in there really lightly, like just following the main core, just to establish these keys. And so remember, the fastest way to do this is I'm just brushing very, very lightly right here. If I wanted to work in this mode with the render, I could work this way. But let me just keep going here. I'm going to go to I got next key right here. And I'm just going to brush in a little bit more. And I'm just doing this as a really quick little demo. There's that star we just saw. And again, I'm just kind of establishing these keys so that I can use my F and G key quickly. Now I can also see that up here I made a mistake, and that at one point or another I started putting the orb in from a frame that was in front of it, and that is technically a mistake. You might see as I get to about right here that there, now it's disappeared. Now that is back to just a single core. All right, so this is what I wanted to say right here. On this one, this is an open frame. And now I'm just gonna put some little pixie dust behind it. But if I hit the G key, I'm just gonna go to the next open frame. And that's not what I want. I wanna keep this on 2s. So in order for this to work, when you're doing this new, you have to use the greater than sign and pay attention on the timeline that you're in the right place. Then you can brush this, it'll fill in the missing key, missing in between. Then use your greater than sign twice again. Go to the next one, it fills in the missing frame. Use your greater than sign twice. Just brush it, and it doesn't have to be a lot, just to establish the hot core coming off the pixie dust. Again, greater than sign twice, and I'm just brushing in just a little bit to establish this on this mist layer. All right, and then just continuing. It's all in 2s. All right, now, so at this point, remember last week we talked about extending this. This little top of the loop right here, we wanted to slow it down. So we actually put this in on 3s. So just touch this frame and hit the plus sign way off the side of the keyboard to extend the frame. This one too. And then this one eventually too. So what I should be doing with this one, hitting the little core, is now I'm going to hit the greater than sign twice to get to this core. And then I'm going to hit it 4 times to go to this one, hit the core. And then so that the keys line up so that they match, that the timing matches. All right, so now we're back on 2s. So now I just have to hit it twice. And I could go back and forth. Now, once I've established all these keys right here, I can go back in and just do it very quickly. I don't even have to look at my timeline. So now it's off the screen, but there's still a little dust falling. I'm gonna hit this guy off here. And if I remember from last week, it took like a moment for this to kick back in. It didn't do it correctly. All right, so just let me continue. Greater than sign twice, and I really want this to work, so come back. For some reason, it's not behaving itself. All right, I'm gonna hit Shift M and save. And the fact that this button is not working is a little troublesome. Because this whole level might be corrupt. I don't know why there's a keyframe right here. I'm just gonna hit F7 to get rid of it. And that's not working either. So my intuition is that there's something wrong with this layer, and I might end up in danger of losing this whole layer. So keep that in mind. what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to play with this idea right here. I do have a dark gray background, right? I do have that dark gray background. I have a horizon line that I have in there. On this horizon line, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a rectangle and just, come on, Toon Boom. Hold on a second. There we go. All right, now does it, that, okay, good. That's why it wasn't kicking in there. All right, so on my horizon line layer, I'm just going to take a rectangle and I open up. Now, in the past, I've noticed that once I do this, it's actually there, but there's like a 0%. Oh, now it's doing something funky. Hold on a second. All right, I'm on the H layer. And I just want to give some difference of, there we go, of the foreground to the background. So I've just got this rectangle, and the rectangle is coming in with a mist 2 color. And we went over this just a little bit when I made the original background here, but let's do this one more time. I don't want this mist color in there, but that's okay. It's yellow, it's mustard yellow. We're just going to leave it there for the moment. I'm going to hit the Alt-U key, which is paint, but then you have to go back and realize that this one's defaulted for unpaint. So I'm just going to paint this, and I'm going to pick this new 0 color. So this is probably just jet black. This is probably 000 RGB. I'm going to make a new one, and then just key this in as something like a 80% gray, something like that. And I'm going to paint this, right? So that when we play this, you can see that there's a difference between the foreground and the background. And again, for animators, you could actually go in and do like a little line layer just to draw in some leaves and trees and bushes and stuff if you really want. Don't go crazy. But what I want to do is we've drawn a rectangle, but we also have the exterior lines for that rectangle. So let me show you. I'm going to zoom in on this. Oops, I'm in the wrong. All right, so let's zoom in on just this corner. And what I want is I want to select just the line. I'm going to kill the line. So let's see if it did it. Sometimes when you're working in Flash and going back and forth between Flash and Toon Boom, you realize that Flash will give you 4 lines, but Toon Boom is only giving you 1, so I just had to hit it once. And that horizon line is still back there. So I'm going to kill that horizon line. And I'm going to have to zoom in so that I know I'm hitting the right line. There we go. All right, so now Shift M, so now it's a clean look. So if you wanted some sort of dispersion, some sort of stippled look back there, you didn't want the horizon and the foreground to be so jarring, you could just go on the, let's see, we got the horizon on top of the background. The background is here. So let me just make sure we're doing this on the right layer. So that layer right there is the very background. And then this is just the foreground darker, this H. And so remember that we use this color. So the one thing that you could do right here is just make this just a little less black, which helps the aesthetics just a little bit. And then you pick whether you want it to be on the background layer or this actual horizon layer. I think the horizon layer is going to be fine. I'm going to hit the Option and Command button on my keyboard and rotate the screen so it's vertical. I'm going to zip out from the screen just a little bit. And again, just make sure, so I'm on the horizon layer. The horizon layer is this darkish gray foreground thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go Brush, and we should still be on the stipple. And I'm still on this new color here, which I should give a proper name. This is FG for foreground. And then I'm just gonna cut that just a little bit to see how that looks. Shift M, and then come out from it a little bit. So, I could work on that a little bit. I can just do it in this horizontal mode, just so that it's not some graphic jarring thing. The thing that you're doing is you're using the same color as this foreground plate here, so you're not going to get any aesthetic trouble. What I'm doing is just trying to get rid of and obliterate that straight line back there. I want a little bit more of an organic feel. Come up on the ends just a little bit, like there's some trees or something. So that's just a really simple fix. Now, if you wanted to play with the contrast again, then you can double click in here and then bring it down just a little bit so that there's even less contrast. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll pay attention to these numbers. So right now it's just 56 over 56. And so if you want, less or more, so that's just a nice way to play with your aesthetics a little bit. Obviously, the layer that you're on. Now this is telling me here that I might have accidentally used a wrong color, because these two colors should be the same. So if I want to check that, I'm going to just eyedropper this. And this is saying foreground color. I'm going to copy this. And this is saying foreground color too. Yeah, so I think it's just Toon Boom giving me a preview of that. Okay, so a couple other things. For that mist layer that we were working on, this mist layer right here, what I want to do is let's just take a look, and we have no nodes on this yet. So if I open this up, I can just see that there's positions and angles and scale, and it looks like I accidentally might have hit something because I've got a scale and a scale for X coordinate and Y coordinate for just 1 pixel a piece. I'm not going to play around with that. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. But in my node library, and I did this last week, I'm going to do it again, and I am recording this. So in the node view, we started this, but let's just take a look at this. So let's see what we've got. And again, one way to make sure you're looking correctly is just hit Command A to select everything, then hit this button and say 25 pixels a piece, and then everything gets spread out. So you can use your hands tool here and your 1 and 2 keys on the keyboard. So what I'm looking for is the mist. So I'm going to touch the mist, and then I'm going to come out from this, and it should be highlighted somewhere. Where's my mist? Here's my mist. All right, so in the mist, we do have this Gaussian blur added to it. And now I'm looking for it. I don't see my blur. So this is just a refresher. We talked about the transparency and the glow. This little triangle here gives you a preview of what those files look like, and it's really hard to see them. And this is another preview of what the blur looks like. This blur should be right here. I'm gonna hit save. I don't know why I can't see this blur. All right, so it's this one. Instead of the plus sign, it's this triangle. All right, let's just see what we've got. We're gonna open up the blur. And right now, it's just this matte, the drop layer here for a matte, but the blurriness is what we want. So we wanna see how it's affecting it. Let's go out to And do you all remember how we did this? Do you remember how we went to the node library and we just brought up, like there's a Gaussian blur, it's this first one, it can bring up another one, and you just put it in here, and then you got to connect it. Remember last week we talked about the idea of connecting a couple of them together. I also think that there's a way of connecting them where you just kind of shake it, but I don't do this one. Yeah, I forget the keyboard shortcut for that, or the mouse shortcut. I always just do it by hand, so I know I'm doing it right. Okay, Gaussian blur. We brought it in from the node view, go back to the timeline. Make sure you're picking something that is relatively in the middle of the shot so you know how it's looking, how it's being affected. I'm going to zoom in on this so I can get a really good look at what's happening with the mists and the blur. I'm going to turn on my render mode so I can see what it would actually render like. And I'm going to take this blurriness, I'm going to move it out, and I'm just going to take my mouse and drag it to like 2. You can see it. So now it's 2.2. Now let's just play with it a little bit. Let's just take it to 3. Let's just take it to 5. So you see what's happening? So remembering how far this will this go. It's going to go out to 40, and now you can't even see it. So let's just take this and highlight it and just bring this back to 1.5. And that's just to make sure that this is working. So we like this 2 or 3 or 4. And so, you know, that's looking okay. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I'm selecting things. Interesting though. It's selecting the whole strange shapes of the mist. So that's looking okay. Again, we are in the render mode here, and it is working. Again, the little triangle is right there. For some reason, I was expecting it to be underneath it, but that's okay. And we can make this open up and close just with that little triangle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to Shift M to see what it looks like. And then I'm going to just G key through the shot just to see what it's looking like. I mean, that was weird, right? So I have to repair this. If I go backwards just a few frames, the mist, the mist, the mist, the mist, the mist, and all of a sudden I've got like some clouds and then a big cloud, and then it goes away. So on this one, I'm going to have to fix this. And I probably fix it by just kind of picking a eraser and getting rid of it, and then just bringing the mist back. Hopefully I'm on the right color. Nope, I'm not. I want to be on the mist color. I'm on the mist brush. And I want my onion skin on so I can see a frame before and a frame afterwards. And I'm going to G through this. You know, that's looking okay. To me, I think it's looking a little pinched. It's looking a little thin. You know, and at this point, remember, you're just drawing like little tiny bits of particles. And you can afford to just kind of brush and play just a little bit. We are in the render mode. So this is what it should look like. And remember too, that the other thing in your hand as an animator is you're going to want to kind of just remember how far back your mist was going. Because I don't think we've done the whole thing yet. We stopped about right here when we were doing this last week. And then when we stopped about right here when I put all those little keys in it. Again, I have my finger over the G key. And so I'm just going forwards in the timeline. I'm trying to make it look just natural, using a very light pressure on my Wacom pen. I'm trying not to push very hard. If you push very hard, you'll end up blowing your hand out. All right, so you can see that the little mist didn't get represented at all back here. All right, and we just did a little bit there. Now I'm going to extend it just a little bit more, extend it. And remember too, one of the things that I said last week when I was introducing this little mist thing was that some animators work this way first. Some animators like to get the effect of the mist done first, and they'll put this in first. You are welcome to work either way. I learned how to do this first. I think that when I started teaching this 225 class, a lot of you got hung up on this digitally. My teacher was very adamant about drawing in the little clouds with the side of my 4B pencil. Very adamant about it. All right, so now I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm gonna have to just kind of find where my orb is. All right, and then remember too that when you go back to frame 1, this is not gonna play in the render mode. So I'm in OpenGL, and that should be something of what it looks like. I'm gonna go back, Shift M. But I think the one thing that you want to do is render this. So we're going to export a movie, and I'm going to, it says MPEG-4, that's fine. But what I want to do here is I want to say, where's it going? It's going to the desktop. It's BB Pixie Dust version 5, because that's the thing it remembered me doing last. So now I'm just going to change this. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll change this by increments of 2. So a lot of times I'll just stay odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, like an animator. So it's going to the desktop, it's PD7, PD version 7. It's going from frame 1 to 135, 1280 by 720. A lot of times I make sure I read through my dialog box, because Harmony and anything in the Creative Cloud can change overnight. And so I just kind of, oh, did anything pop in here? Is it new? It's like, okay, I say okay. It's going to give me a render box. And then I'm going to go out to my desktop and look at it and just see what it looks like. Now, I know on my Mac, I don't know if you can see this or not, but the icon changed. So it went from just looking like a regular MP4. Now it's a .move, and there's like a little preview of what it actually looks like, which means it's probably done correctly. So I'm going to open this with QuickTime Player. And to me, let me just take a look here. Yeah, that's the right one. Okay. So now this gives you a really good idea of what you actually worked with. A couple of things that I can see, and when you're in QuickTime, you can actually hit your space bar to stop, and then your arrow keys left and right to go forwards and backwards. I'm looking at this going, you know, there's just too much of a stark definition between the edge of the cloud right there and right there. I think I want it to be more brushy like this. So I think that I would go back in and do more of a uniform pass on the brush layer. You can kind of see that talking and drawing at the same time gives you places where you forgot to put the mist. It's easier to animate if you can just concentrate on one pass all at the same time. So yeah, I'm looking for little variations in the structure of the mist. So in other words, like on this puppy right here, there's some little splotches right there that in this keyframe, they go away. You know, do we see it? I don't know. Maybe you want to go back in there and fill that in a little bit. So now I'm just looking at it frame by frame. And remember, we just did all this kind of as a temporary placeholder just to get the keys in place. So this doesn't have as much as it should be. And this is probably a little bright. The pixie dust should be dissipating back in here just a little bit. All right, so that was a messy one.
Do you recommend different colors for the pixie dust, or like an opacity setting to kind of get that fading effect?
Both, yeah. Let's just look at this one more time as a movie.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it's looking okay. I think that just my critique is that, and I remember saying this last week too, that I'm reusing this as a demo from last semester, that yeah, right in here I was just probably trying to go a little too fast, and this is looking a little too stripy to me. So I haven't quite fixed that yet. And this frame is a little too stripy, and I'm going backwards now. So yeah, this whole little section right here, from here all the way to here, it's just a little stripy, if stripy is a real word. And I think that it's not dissipating as much on the very end of it as it should be. So I would want to do a couple of fixes on that. Again, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just render something like that and I'll throw it away just because I don't want to keep track of it, because I'll go back into Harmony and I'll fix something. Like for instance, maybe I wanted to see what it looked like without that arc. And because I've thrown it away now, I can hit File, Export, Movie. There's no shortcut for that. And I'm just going to say blah, 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 and right over it. I'm just going to make a new file with the same name. So it's coming in, but this time it's just not going to have the arc. So what does it look like with this, the exact same animation now with just the arc turned off? My background doesn't look horrible. So, you know, it's looking pretty good. Once again, that little stripy thing there at the end, it's kind of catching my eye. Now I'm just going to move my playhead. Now, I don't recommend ever doing this, by the way, because it gives you a really false sense of timing when you move your playhead like this. Oh, it looked good to me. And so, but I'm only doing it to identify areas where the mist is kind of screwed up. And then I'm going to just play it again to see if any of the mist catches my eye. For instance, if it's going backwards or if it's strobing or stuttering or something like that. I think it looks okay, but I think that just in general, it could use reds and greens and maybe a little bit more blues in there just to really spark things up. And now you can imagine that when the Disney folks were doing Cinderella, like way back when, I don't know where that went. That's not Cinderella. No, everything started with the graphite pencil on paper, and it would have just been a nightmare to have the ink and paint artists put the little exploding stars in as baby blue on top of the white. That would have just been crushingly insane. It would have cost extra paper, extra pass at animation, extra layers, and at this point, everything is nitrous cellulose. It just would have taken a shot like this and made it 4 times more expensive. So everything was just white. In this shot, everything is just white. In this shot, that's not what I wanted. Where's my Disney Plus? Where's my Disney Plus? Did I put my Disney Plus away? There's Don Bluth. Well, dang. Let me bring it back. Hopefully it'll remember where it was. No, it didn't. I didn't sign out though, so I'll go back. All right, so we're going to resume. Take us right back to that frame. Look, everything's white. See it? Look at it. Everything's white. Everything's white. Everything's white. Everything's twinkling. Everything's white. Everything's white. Everything is white. It would have been a nightmare to try to make the exploding stars yellow or blue or something. It would have just been absolutely.
Especially since you'd have to also account for color uniform.